Good morning, fans of the new network. It's James Ernest from Sarah's Playlist. Today we have Jesse Bond, and Jesse is an animator, VFX artist, motion graphic designer, and he's also a singer, songwriter, and producer in his spare time. So he does a wide variety of things. We are so excited to having you on. Molly Diago told us such great things about you. Jesse, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, how did you get started creating visual art?
Well, I think like most kids, I drew a lot when I was a kid, it was mostly like in the van while my mom was carting me around. My sister and I were both homeschooled K through 12, so we were in the van with my mom a lot. So I drew little like comic strips and different things just to keep myself entertained. And then when I was 14, I stumbled across some like clearance 3D modeling animation software and was like, what is this? And that's where I got started into that side of things. So yeah.
Nice. So, just by coincidence, you end up finding something, and it ends up changing your life for the better.
Pretty much, yeah. It's been a hobby and then part of my career ever since. So
Did you do any schooling? Where did you learn to do the art?
yeah, so I did like I said, it was early hobbyist experience as a teenager, but then I went to the University of Central Florida, and I tried to get into their like fine arts animation program, but there was like portfolio reviews and it was kind of scary, and so I didn't do that. But then the new program they were called digital media, was really flexible. It was new and you could do a lot of different stuff. And I had a 3D Studio Max class, and my professor in that was part of that program and said he would be like my faculty mentor and I could kind of do whatever I wanted. So I ended up doing like an animated short film as my senior project in that. And the other thing that worked out great is they had just merged with the film department. And around that time was when UCF's film department was getting popular because of the Blair Witch Project, because the
Oh,
people who made
wow.
that people who made that had graduated from their film program. So digital media and film were merging, and the cool thing about that is the students through the film program had entertainment insurance that they could get through the school. And so I was actually like the first one to go and be like, hey, since we're the same department now, can I get that too? And we went and we
Nice.
made like a Matrix fan film and running around downtown Orlando. It was fun.
Oh, cool. That sounds awesome. I
Yeah.
was going to say, shoot, I'm just throwing this out there. When you said UCF, Taco Falls has a book, a very inspirational book. What would be awesome is if you took that book and turned that into a cartoon of some sort, either a
Hmm.
short cartoon or a whole full length movie.
Nice. You have to hook me up with a link to check that out after this.
Definitely. Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
got a neat story. What is the difference between an animator, VXF artist, and a motion graphic designer?
Well, animator, it can be like an inclusive term, but the difference is like when you say motion graphics, you primarily are thinking like, when someone's name comes up on the screen on the bottom of like a news program, or when you're watching football and they got the big 3D,
All the
woo,
stats and stuff.
and
Yeah.
yeah, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, that's usually considered motion graphics, and it has sort of its own niche. Animator, I think it can be very generic, but I think it more typically applies to like animating characters, creating the illusion of life with a puppet, or drawing it frame by frame, that sort of thing. I've never been the frame by frame type, but when I found, like I said, when I found that 3D software and it basically was puppets that you could move around
Oh,
and
cool.
animate, this position goes to that position. It was like, this is like playing with action figures. I've done this my whole life, so it was like a
Heck yeah.
totally different dynamic. It was awesome.
Okay, so the graphic designer is kind of what you do more with the businesses what I'm about to ask you about, and then
Yeah.
it sounds like the animator was more for the music videos that you've done.
Yeah, it's the I think most people don't get into this kind of work thinking like I would like to animate spinny things for football. That's I don't think most people kind of get into it through that front door. It's usually the cartoons and stuff that we've seen as kids, and movies with the amazing visual effects like Jurassic Park,
Oh
you know
gosh, yeah.
stuff that holds up to this day, and it's amazing. Um, so Yeah, oops, sorry, totally lost my train of thought. I'm a little ADHD. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, no worries. We were talking about how the differences between the artist
Right.
and the graphic designer, and it
Gotcha.
sounds like you said that people go in doing the animation thing, and then they get the opportunity to become graphic designers as well.
Yeah, and I think that's what happens with a lot of artists is you go in like thinking one thing and then you can get a job doing this other thing and it's related, so that's kind of where you end up, spending most of your career. Maybe it's not exactly what you wanted to do, but that's sort of, I think most people I know are basically in that boat. Nobody, I think, imagines exactly what they end up doing, when you're a kid. But and then VFX artist, that can mean a lot of different things also, but in my case, mainly I'm fixing and tweaking video footage that people have filmed where there's problems that they need to either they would have to go back and refilm the entire thing at great expense and time and effort, or they can just have me tweak it in post digitally to change stuff. And that's where Volkswagen comes in, who is, like I said,
Oh,
my
cool.
biggest client. Because what they do is they film like every model year of car. They shoot running footage of them driving around different places and all this stuff. And then sometimes when they go to update the next model year, they're like, well, it's only like the headlights are a little different, and this silver thing is a black thing now, and that sort of deal. And so
Yeah.
instead of going and spending all the money to go do that and refilm it all over again, they just give it to me, and then I go and change the colors and take the new headlight and plop it in where the old
Oh,
headlight
wow.
was, and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's a lot of my work.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So you're able to
Yeah,
tweak that and save them a bunch of money, so everybody wins.
exactly. Yep, yep.
That's cool. What are some of the other companies that you've worked with?
So I've done some work for TED conferences. Obviously, you have the big names like that. That's always exciting. But a lot of the stuff I've really enjoyed the most is kind of like doing animated explainer videos just for companies, small and medium sized like corporations. Explainers are great because it basically lets you kind of like take a cartoon approach to trying to explain something that otherwise would be really dry and kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like, oh, your employee benefits or something like this. And instead of it just being, like some a talking head or something, it enables me to be like, okay, well, what if we show it this way and have this cartoon character doing this thing? And you
Yeah, it
find ways
spices
to
it
like,
up. Yeah.
yeah, you find ways to like show all the stuff they need to say, but make it much more interesting and fun to watch for people, which makes them more likely to actually watch it. So
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah,
yeah,
if it's boring, people end up ignoring it, where
yeah,
this sounds like it's helping to get the info out better. That's phenomenal.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. One of the videos that I really liked of yours, and I'm gonna say his name, Josh Garrels,
I think it's Garrels. Yeah.
Garrels, is Ulysses. You did that video for, what was it, a wedding or a marriage conference?
Yeah, it was actually a sermon series at Port City Community Church in Wilmington, North Carolina. I worked for them um, for 5 years, and yeah, toward the end of my time there, there was this marriage series, and I kind of was like, I don't remember if they approached me with the idea of doing a short film to close the series, or if I came up with that. I can't really remember. Been a minute, but the idea was to make a short film to close out the series that would be kind of like impactful and sort of drive home like the emotional, point of the series to really help it land for people. And yeah, so that Josh Garrels song, man, I just lived and breathed that for like a month. It was, but it's so beautiful. It's an amazing song. So yeah, that was kind of like my first time really being able to do like a full on short film, in a professional setting. And then like the other music videos I've done since then have kind of come out of that initial experience and people seeing that. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, if the message was, about how marriage is a partnership and definitely a team effort, then yeah, oh my gosh, because that really drove home the message that gosh, it was very powerful.
thank you.
Welcome. And then from there, like you said, you got offers to do other projects. Uh, Hugh Cornwalls, he was from what, the Stranglers?
Yep. Hugh Cornwell. Yep, he was the
Yep.
front man of the Stranglers back in the '70s, and he like it was really funny because he quit the band kind of like right as they were getting like the most popular that they were. Like they were touring with Blondie, like all
Ooh,
this stuff. And he was like, I feel creatively limited, want to do my own thing. Bye. And he's
yeah.
literally been making solo albums ever since. He's in his 70s now, and I think he's made like 11 solo albums. Like, dude is
Man,
a machine. Yeah.
wow. And then you worked on his music video Coming Out of the Wilderness. It
Yes.
They were early on, it gave an Adam and Eve vibe, but then it kind of had a Shyamalanian twist. Was that intentional?
um, yeah, so the Adam and Eve thing was sort of didn't really intend to that. It's just the story is of like a werewolf who's living in the wilderness by himself, and then a girl like was just wandering through the woods, comes upon him, and they become friends and stuff. And then she brings him into the city and tries to make him over, to make him be able to fit in that urban wilderness, if you would. And things don't go well. But
Yeah, the twist there. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was gonna say, shoot, that could be one of those videos where you have people watch it for the first time and film their reactions. Because yeah, I was like, oh, okay, they met. What the heck?
did you see that after the other one? Because yeah, it's a bit different in tone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, because yeah, I watched the marriage relationship one, and then yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's really different. Yeah, because at
But
first I was like, oh, I wonder if it's the same couple, and
right, right.
then I'm like, no, that's definitely not. Yeah, the same people there. Oh gosh, yeah,
But
it
yeah,
is.
it's it's just great though because he really kind of gave me complete freedom. I was able to write the whole story and be like, hey, can we do this? And he directed along the way and made some tweaks here and there. But yeah, I was able to kind of just conceptualize that whole thing and then have him give me the green light and be like, yeah, let's do it. So it was awesome.
And then my favorite one of yours is Molly's. Oh my gosh, someone just like you. It's like watching a movie. It's there. It's got a Kill Bill kind of thing. It's got a Sparta kind of thing, and then it's got the sci-fi kind of thing. Which was your favorite part?
Sci-fi. I'm a huge sci-fi nerd. Definitely. And the funny thing about that project is it took like 4 years to get finished. I mean, not like in actual work time, but
Yeah.
we started we started it back in 2020 when I was like in a totally different season of life. I was still married, hadn't been divorced yet, and was living in Virginia. And so yeah, we started it, and then like the release that was supposed to happen kind of didn't happen, and Molly ended up changing like companies that she was working with. And then it kind of just came back around a few weeks ago, and it literally was like a few weeks ago. She's like, hey, we want to
Wow.
use this. And I was like, well, we got 2 minutes of it done.
Mhm.
That's like half of what it needed to be. And so I was like, but I'm confident that, if you give me a week, that I can get it into shape and kind of, achieve, try to get my vision across the finish line the way I intended it to be. And I'm really happy that we were able to do that because yeah, it's just been sitting, collecting dust on a hard drive for years now. So
So, do we need to rise up against the machines and stop them before they take over us all? And they,
oh
as
man.
South Park would say, steal our jobs or take our jobs.
Maybe they'll be Canadian. They'll have the jaw
Yeah,
thing. Like,
oh, that'd be awesome.
yeah.
But no, unfortunately, yeah, I was gonna say I know it's affected a lot of like still art, but I understand now AI is starting to affect your line of work.
You are right about that. OpenAI, the ones who make ChatGPT, just previewed this new thing called Sora, where you literally can just type in a prompt and it can create like a minute long photoreal video of whatever you want.
Oh
It
wow.
is crazy. Definitely go check that out when you get a chance. Their demo video that they put out, it's like 15 minutes of just different clips showing we typed this, it popped out that, and it's incredible. It's nothing you. I don't know if you did you see like the Will Smith eating spaghetti thing
No, I
that came
haven't
out
seen
a
that
while
yet.
back. Okay, yeah, it was like early attempts at trying to make a video that made sense with
Yeah.
AI, and it was crazy. It was just chaos, and things didn't look right and stuff. But now it's amazing how fast AI is advancing. So yeah, this technology is definitely like because like for instance, in a lot of movies or TV shows or whatever, sometimes you have like you want to get a shot that's like an establishing shot of a city or something.
Yeah.
You'd go to like a stock video website and you'd license that footage and then put it in your thing. Now, once people have access to this, you could just be like, flyover shot of blah 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 and change it to, tweak it, make it whatever you want, and
Oh,
have
wow.
this thing create it for you instead. So I feel like the stock video market is definitely going to be affected hugely by this, but obviously people are going to do things the business decision makers are going to do
Yeah.
things the least expensive way possible. So with that possible now, I don't know, what kind of jobs might that affect, and this is still just the beginning of this technology getting going, so who knows, if very many of us at all will be doing this kind of thing in 10 years. There's no way to say.
Yeah. Or if it is, then you'll be switching over and you'll be the ones typing in the prompts and that kind of thing.
Exactly right, which is why it's important, I think, and I'd say to any commercial artists, make friends with it. It's not going away. Learn to use it. Be the one who can implement that for the decision makers. I think that's definitely the right way to go.
Definitely. Yeah, because my only experience with it was Discord or something. I ended up downloading one of the apps, and I used it to make the Cincinnati Bengals, because that's where I'm from,
Right.
shirts for my mom. But the Bengals mascot as a oh gosh, Illuminations or whatever it is, the
Despicable Me, like a minion.
yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like a Pixar type character. So
Okay.
like
Yeah.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
cuter, softer version of the mascot, that kind of thing.
Right. Right.
And so I made her some hoodies for Christmas, and she loved them. But yeah, that is crazy that what they can do nowadays, and if they can do videos too.
All right, and in the past you would have had to go to an illustrator and hire somebody to make that, and now you literally just go tick, 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 make it that boop, and it does it for
Exactly.
you. So
Yeah, it was crazy.
obviously it's definitely going to affect a lot of things moving forward for sure.
Yeah. So when you're not doing, you're creating the visual art, you also create music either through songwriting or playing the music or even producing the music. So who are a couple of the bands that you have been a part of?
So my longest tenure was with a band called the Mid Atlantic. It was also over in Wilmington, North Carolina. It's kind of like a folk grass Americana group. It was 5 people, and so we had a lot of a lot of energy, a lot of young dudes. Be going and surfing, between shows and stuff. I was a little older than some of them, and kind of felt like I was the wet blanket sometimes, but. I had a great time in that band, but it was like my first band, so I made a lot of mistakes, and had to learn a lot in terms of how to work in that environment, socially and politically. But yeah, great group. They're still together playing over in Wilmington, and you should definitely check them out if you can. If you're over that way, they're really fun.
Definitely. Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes in the music industry you need somebody to kind of be that wet blanket, because otherwise there's so many stories about rock bands doing such crazy things out there that
Right, right, right.
yeah, and then no one was there to say, "Hey, Keith, calm down," or yeah, Slash,
Yeah.
hey, put your pants back on, Slash, yeah,
Well, and my ex-wife and I had our daughter, and that was kind of the end of that for me. So yeah, we ended up having to move to get a better paying job, and so that's when I had to say goodbye to the band. But, yeah.
I can imagine she loves what you do. Have you ever like done anything for her for like a birthday or anything like that?
Oh, for
Fun.
sure. And we'll play stuff together, here and there. Like we'll both get into a song, and I'll go learn it, and then we'll sing it together. Sometimes I throw it up on social media or something.
Oh,
But mostly we just sing Disney albums in the car, the soundtracks to the movies. That's sort of the main thing we do, because I have her like every other week, and I actually have to commute her like an hour to school and back every day.
yeah,
So we spend a lot of time in the car. So we've
yeah.
been we learned the Moana soundtrack, and then we were doing Frozen 2, and now we're doing the first Frozen movie. So yeah, having lots of fun singing those together.
That's cool. Another one that you sing, I really enjoyed, Cure. I kind of felt that it was the cover of duality of complication, complexity of relationships. Is that the message that you're going for, or did I misread it? Because that's a great thing about art is one person can hear it and hear one thing, the next person hears it and hears something else.
Totally. And I've always heard it said, that like once it's out there in the world, it's like as the person who made it, you don't really own it anymore because when you make something that is designed to have people inject their own meaning, then that's sort of the point is you can personalize it to your own life. For me, it came out of a place where uh, I was struggling in my marriage with my ex-wife, and we were both kind of just trying to figure out like, are we going to stay together or are we not? And so it was sort of coming from that place where I was kind of just needed to decide for myself, am I going to stay here and try to make this work or not, And so that's sort of where that came from for me.
What type of projects are you currently working on?
So I actually am in a new like power trio 3-piece band with a couple guys here locally in Mountain City, Tennessee. We're having just a great time playing together, working on originals.
That's awesome.
And yeah, and it's really great because one of the guys is a professional audio mixing and mastering dude, and also a killer drummer. So, and then the
Oh,
other guy is a second singer songwriter.
mhm.
So we kind of have material out the wazoo from the two
Yeah,
of us writing, and then he knows how our drummer knows how to take it all and record it and mix and master it the right way. So hopefully we're gonna have like some killer end products once we actually get around to recording things. It should be really awesome.
yeah, that sounds great. I was gonna say, sounds like you got the talent. And you just, shoot, keep working at it, and it's gonna do some great things.
Thanks, man. Yeah, should be fun.
Well, Jesse, it has been a pleasure having you on the show. Before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web, where can our listeners find out more about you?
All right. Well, you can hit me up on Instagram at Jesse Bond Music, or you can also do at Cellotar, Cellotar. That's a little company where I make musical instruments as a side business. Or you can just go to my website, which is Jesse Bond, JESSEBOND.com, to see like all my video work and check out what I've done there and contact me if you need me to do anything for you or your company.
Sounds great. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.